Oh, what is the upskis, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXHockeyCast. We're on episode 142. Toronto Maple Leaf all-time legend, Tyler Flozak. Tyler Bozak of My Little Hockey Show, where once a week I go through all the major news and what's happenings around the NHL. Semi-focused in on the Leafs and Flames. Those are my two favorite teams, but I'll be talking about all 32 teams on this podcast. And this is going to be an easy one for me. We're going to be talking about all the trades. Some we'll talk more about, some not as much, but we're going to talk about all the trades that went down at the trade deadline, and it was a lot crazier than I thought it was going to be. A lot of really fun trades going down. The Leafs made trades. Brad Marchand is no longer a Boston Bruin, and shocking where Bradley ends up. We'll discuss all that, but I think I would like to start with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I know, but seriously, we got to talk about the big trade right here. Connor Dewar, Connor Timmins, no longer Toronto Maple Leafs. They are gone. We are Dunyan rings with all Connors. No more Connors. They're going to Pittsburgh for a 5th round pick in 2025. Now, this is horrific. This is devastating news. It's okay. Don't worry about it. So Connor Dewar, it didn't work out here in Toronto. Off he goes to Pittsburgh, and I always liked Connor Timmins. You know, I know he had deficiencies, but dude always put up points, man. He always put up points, but and he was actually he did so much better under Craig Berube than I ever thought he would. He was good. I was fine with him, but it's kind of a cap dump right here. Leafs need to make up some space, and they also just have a vendetta with the name Connor. All kidding aside, that was not the biggest move that the Toronto Maple Leafs did. All said and done, I think the Leafs did what they needed to do. They didn't get the best things in those positions that they needed, but they did fill the needs of those positions. So let us see if I can find the actual trade. It's loading because there's so freaking many. All right, let's talk about the Brandon Carlo trade, because this one was a lot of people calling it a rather shocking trade. You know, the Toronto Maple Leafs dealing with their rival, the Boston Bruins, which is generally always been in the Bruins' favor. And we remember the Phil Kessel trade, even though I love Phil Kessel. I adored Phil Kessel. It just didn't need to happen. I'm happy it did, though. I love Phil Kessel. But there goes Tyler Seguin, 2nd overall pick. There goes Dougie Hamilton, 11th overall or something. Regardless, worked out very good for the Boston Bruins. Hopefully it doesn't go this poorly this time around, but the Leafs do acquire Brandon Carlo. Big motherfucker right here. This is a massive man. Honestly, I wanted Luke Schenn, but all said and done, this is a better version of Luke Schenn. You got the right-hand shot, 6'5", 220 pounds, and yeah, we've dealt with this man before in Boston Bruins games and playoff series, and he's not fun to play against. Though I've heard many complaints over the years from Bruins fans about Brandon Carlo. I think he'll be just fine. You know, we are a few days past the trade deadline now, and so far so good. Like, he's been a presence in front of the net for the defensive side, which has always been it's been a problem for the Leafs for a long time, so that's addressing that. You get the right-handed shot where you're weak on the right side. Not weak, but you can address that. So good move right there. I like the addition of Brandon Carlo. Now, he is by no means a points man. He does not get points. He's got 1 goal, 8 assists this year in 65 games. That's not what he does, but he's going to be blocking shots. He's going to be pushing some bitches out of the front of the net, and he's going to be scrumming it up in all the scrums after the whistles in the playoffs. Where he's going to thrive is the playoffs. That's where guys like him are very unpleasant to deal with. Big body. He's going to be throwing it around. He's got to be smart, though. He can't be taking stupid penalties, and I know he's due for a few of those every now and again. But he's also signed. That was the thing that the Leafs went for. They went for guys with term and a respectable amount of term on these deals as well. I do believe that the Bruins have retained on Brandon Carlo. I'll have to just double check here because, all right, so 15% of Carlo's contract retained. Not a lot, but it takes him down. I think it might be sub $3 million, something like that. Regardless, it's a pretty fair price for a 28-year-old right shot defenseman, and he's pretty good. He's not amazing. I think he's probably going to slot into the top 4. in a perfect world, he's like a fantastic bottom pairing defenseman, but good for us. I'm happy with Brandon Carlo. My nerves are shot, though, with the return to Boston. So they take Fraser Minten, which I imagine he might have already played some games for them by now. I have not checked in on that, but he seems to be a guy he's already played some NHL games with the Leafs. He looked pretty all right. He can be there. He can be an NHL option, just maybe not on the Leafs team right now. Not really not the role we're looking for. So off Fraser Minten goes, and it sucks, man. As Leaf fans, we always hang on tight to the prospects. They're all going to become superstars. But Fraser Minten, I talked about him before, looked like he would be topping out as a third liner, which, hey, didn't we need that? It's like, yeah, we did, but we need a third line center with a little more experience and yada yada, which we got. We'll talk about that later. But Fraser Minten is going to be an NHL player. He's already an NHL player, and that's really good for his age. And who knows how he will develop, right? That's what the future will behold. We'll see if Fraser Minten just becomes the next coming of Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci. We know the Boston has been looking for centers ever since they lost those two. And I'm not saying that Fraser Minten will be that, but I would not be shocked if he does become a great top 6 player for the Bruins, because that's just kind of how that shit goes. Also going to the Bruins is a top 5 protected first-round pick in 2026. So, it sucks that they lose the first-round pick in what is going to be a stacked draft right there. And, they at least top 5 protect it. I doubt that, if the Leafs do crash next season, if they lose Marner and they lose Tavares, we'll talk about that. We'll get there. But how far down can they go? They still have what seems to be a good goaltending tandem, a strong defensive core. You got Willie, you got Matthews, you got potentially what's his face, fucking Nice and all that shit. So I would still see them as a competitive team. I don't think they would be. Who knows, man? Who knows? You can never friggin' fully predict the future. And also a 4th round pick in 25. So it's good. The Leafs going in, as a lot of the other Eastern teams did, they make their mark. They add the right shot defenseman, and they're giving up the picks. They're giving up the prospects, but the Leafs didn't give up the major prospects in Cowan, and they kept fucking what's his face. I think it's Ben Danforth. Regardless, they kept 2 of the more highly touted prospects. But yes, you have to give to get. And I'm pretty satisfied with the trade. Like I said, Bruins are probably going to get a lot more out of Minten than the Leafs are going to get out of Carlo. But Leafs need Carlo a lot more right now than they need Fraser Minten. So it's an acceptable trade. Let's go to the next one. Philadelphia Flyers acquiring Nikita Grabankin for check, back, check, paycheck. He is no longer a Leaf, and that sucks, man. I really enjoyed his little time there, coming up and having those interviews after the game. The guy is a sweetheart. I love him. He's a great personality, and he's going to fit in so good with the Flyers. I think you guys are going to have a great time with this guy. He really seems to be like a prototypical Flyer. I was a little bit surprised. I was like, oh, that's Grabankin. I was like, right, him. I didn't think he was that highly touted of a prospect. I think he's going to be probably a fairly effective bottom 6, middle 6 kind of forward. We'll see how far it can go, but I like that fit for Philadelphia. And then they get the conditional first round pick in 27. I imagine that's some sort of top 10, top something protected pick right there. So being smart, and Philadelphia retains 50% of Scott Laughton's contract. So come on down, Scott Laughton. You are the newest Toronto Maple Leaf, and welcome. So it's a bit of a steep price for sure. That's kind of been that was the set market for Laughton, but it was a pretty expensive trade market this year. So it's not as bad as it could be, but Scott Laughton, man, that is a fantastic third-line center for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Defensively responsible, can take a face-off, a little bit of toughness, and he has scoring ability. The homie scored 4 goals, I think, this year. He had a 4-goal game, so he can go off, and I think hoping he will make an impact for the Leafs in the playoffs. I'm hoping so, and he's locked in for next season as well for like $1.something million, an unbelievable deal for what he is as your third line center in the NHL. That's a fantastic bargains, so that's really going to help out the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they also pick up a 4th in 25 and a 6th round pick in 27. So, hey, might as well try and recoup some draft picks because you're trading out a lot of the big ones. So, hopefully the Leafs can find some decent things down in those picks. You never know. You can find somebody, a diamond in the rough, if you will. But I like the trade as well. So far, Scott Laughton hasn't really made a huge impact, but he's kind of exactly what the doctor ordered, considering that it seemed like Braden Shen was taken off the market, other centers got scooped up, and while we're here, let us discuss Mitchell Marner. So I'm a little nervous now, so everyone seems to know that Marner was offered up to Carolina for Mikko Rantanen. There's discussion there was a trade, and Marner would not waive his no-trade clause. He didn't want to go to Carolina. He wants to remain a Toronto Maple Leaf. But I feel like that's a very precarious situation that the Leafs are in right now with Marner. He really is squeezing them by the nuts right now, and he can twist it. He can twist that thing if he wants to. He can really destroy the Leafs if he wants to. So let's just go down the worst case Ontario. Let's talk about the worst thing that can happen. Leafs get wrecked in the first round again. It's a whole fucking thing, and Marner walks from the Toronto Maple Leafs for absolutely nothing. And the Leafs, I mean, not for nothing. I mean, they will gain a ton of cap space, but they would already be out on the 2 biggest fish that would be potentially available at free agency, and Rantanen, who just signed with a mystery team we'll talk about. And then if Marner walks, he's clearly not going to sign with the Leafs. So, yeah, that's going to be a hard thing to recoup. And if Rantanen was potentially on the table there and could have got Rantanen, signed him to a big deal, and then been okay. And yeah, so Marner has a lot of power, I would say, right now, and I think the Leafs are going to try and do everything they can to smooth this over. I know he said some comments there after the Colorado game, but Treliving says, "Oh, I want to keep him here forever." All that shit, things you got to say. I'm just very nervous with the situation, man. It could be very good. Best case Ontario, Leafs are winning the cup, and he's taking a fucking hometown discount, and he signs a 8-year deal for $12 million bucks, and that would be amazing. But that kind of shit doesn't happen in Toronto. He's definitely going to be asking for more than $12 million. He's definitely going to throw in that Canadian tax, and that's just going to get worse and worse. I'm not going to go down a political path here, but that's that. If you think it's bad now, the no tax and the Americans, and oh, buddy, it's just going to get worse and worse. So get ready for that one. But regardless, Marner waiving that and not allowing the trade to, I can't get mad at him for that. That's completely within his rights. At this point, I wouldn't, as a superstar offensive player, I wouldn't really want to go to Carolina either, because that's a place that offensive players go to die. Like, I mean, Gensel fit in pretty fucking good, but Rantanen, it just, didn't happen. And who's to say that Marner would re-sign with the Carolina Hurricanes? I imagine at that point, if he did say yeah, he would go there and then just test free agency and make, who knows, San Jose could throw $17 million at him. Freaking Chicago could throw 18 at him. So he has those kind of options. He can take a lot of money and play for a really bad team for the rest of his career and maybe never see playoffs again. Or he can sign with the Leafs, continue the story. You know, he's going to be saying, like, he's not going to sit here and say, like, I don't know if I want to be here in Toronto. Like, he's going to say, I want to be a Leaf, I want to win here, I want to do that. He has to say that shit. Like, it'll make life very difficult for him in Toronto if he's like, I'm going to walk, I'm leaving. So, could be, Islanders fans are probably foaming at the mouth to have this happen to Toronto, the same way that Tavares just left the Islanders after saying, I'm staying, and then whoop, sorry, just kidding, I'm out of here, and just leave fucking the Islanders with a dick in their hand. Like, fuck, we are so fucked right now, but it ended up being not so bad for them, so we'll see, man. But all I'll say right now is I am extremely nervous. If I'm Brad Treliving, I'm sweating, I am so fucking nervous, man, because he won't talk, like, they could have signed him all the way back to last July or whatever, and just, it hadn't happened. There hasn't been a whole lot of talk of it, and now it's just like, no, we're not talking till after playoffs, and it's the smart thing to do, man. The cap is flying up. If this guy goes off in the playoffs for the first time ever, and just goes crazy, and the Leafs have a deep run, he can definitely squeeze out some more money. And if things go really bad, he can just pull the chute and say, fuck it, I'm out of here. I'm walking. I don't have to stay here. You have no control over me anymore. So that is why I am fucking terrified with the Marner situation. I don't blame Treliving for trying to acquire Rantanen, man. If I'm in that boat, like, okay, I have no idea if these guys are going to fucking sign with me or not. If Rantanen would come here and sign with us, and that is an option, I am 100% pulling that trigger as well. I don't even fucking care. Even if Marner was like, I will sign with you guys, I promise. And I was like, nope, if you're not signing, then no, I gotta do the right thing and trade for Rantanen. So I appreciate Treliving trying that, but who knows, it might have just rocked the boat like really hard. But hopefully Brad can be like, hopefully you understand like where my positioning is as a GM here, man. Like, you are unsigned. We don't know what you're going to do. So hopefully they can smooth everything out and Marner just re-signs for a respectable number. Like, at this point, I'm thinking like the Rantanen thing really fucks it up. It's going to be really, it's just not going to be that. It's not going to be the Rantanen deal. It's going to be more, I would think, like probably 13-5, 14. I don't know, man. Like, it could be. It's definitely up in the air. It's definitely up in the air. I don't know if the Leafs can afford that kind of contract, man. Like with Willie, even if John takes a discount, Nyes is going to be taking all that extra money. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be a hectic fucking summer. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be stressful. Hopefully they can bring a cup to Canada, to Toronto, something, and make the hurt not so bad, because I don't know. I don't feel good about where they are right now with Marner and how that's going. So we'll leave it at that. Let me know what you think about what the Leafs did. Overall, I think they did what they needed to do. They didn't get the biggest fish, but they got what they needed. They needed a center. They needed a friggin' more depth on the defense, and they did that. They did more than that. They got a solid-ass fucking right-shot defenseman and a damn fine third-line center, I would say. So I am satisfied with what the Leafs did at trade deadline. Overall, it sounds like most people are satisfied with it. Like, yeah, a little bit of disappointment that, they didn't get Rantanen, or they didn't get freaking Luke Shen, or they didn't get Novak, or they didn't get, who was the other big center, O'Reilly, shit like that. Like, they just didn't get traded. Like, Nashville doesn't have to trade O'Reilly, and they didn't. St. Louis didn't have to trade Braden Shen, and they didn't. So, I mean, So we'll move on now. Let's go talk about all the rest of the trades, and there's a lot. So hang in there. All right, so we'll get this ball rolling with the big Tampa Bay Lightning trade, which scares the hell out of me. Tampa Bay getting back Yanni Gourde. So that's a brilliant move for Tampa Bay. They've had this guy before. He was an absolute freaking menace for them, and he's going to do it again, and I'm terrified. On top of that, they get Oliver Bjorkstrand, who is a damn fine, second line for Tampa, could possibly playing third line and just be an absolute stud for them. Love that move as well. They get Kyle Lecoin and a 5th-round pick in 26. This is a 3-team deal. We got Seattle. They get Mikey Eyssimont, who was a fine third-line center for them, but boom, you get but you're getting an upgrade with Yanni Gourde right there. They retain 50% of Yanni Gourde's contract, and they get a haul, man. They get a 1st-round pick in 26, 1st-round pick in 27, and a 2nd-round pick in 25. That is a haul, man. That is a haul. Now, Seattle, they're looking for that superstar, man. Like, Shane Wright has been turning it on pretty good lately, but they still need more of that top-tier talent. So bringing in some 1st-round picks, not a bad idea. Eventually, Tampa's going to start falling apart. So who knows? Maybe that 1st round in 27 ends up being pretty nice. I don't know if they're going to fall apart that quickly, and they're unprotected picks. So who knows? That these could be decent for Seattle, or they can basically be just bona fide 2nd-round picks. We'll see, but they're not losing anything crazy that they can't get back. Like, Yanni Gourde was okay for them, and Bjorkstrand, they were looking for more, but I think he was injured a little bit here and there, and he was a fine 50, 60-point player, and that is a great add for Tampa Bay. And on top of that, Detroit retains 25% of Gourde's contract, so the dude's basically playing for free, and they acquire a 4th-round pick in 25 for their troubles. So they take on a little cap, and I know Detroit fans are very disappointed in Steve Yzerman really not doing a fucking thing, but what, I don't know, man. Like, Detroit's not playing good right now, so it doesn't look like they're making the playoffs. All right. So that's a good trade, right? I really like that trade for Tampa Bay. Makes them very dangerous coming in, and they are like turning it on right now. Vasilevsky's playing insane. Kucherov did just go down. We'll see what is going on there, if it's a big deal or not. But they look dangerous again this season, and it's going to be a horrific first round. Rather, you get the Battle of Florida. You could have Leafs versus one of the Florida teams. You could have Leafs and Ottawa potentially meeting again. Oh my goodness. All right, we'll get some quick ones done here. San Jose gets Vinny Desharnais, defenseman. Pittsburgh picking up a pick right there. All right. Interesting. This one kind of made me I was like, what the fuck are you doing? But Pittsburgh acquiring Luke Schenn and Tommy Novak from Nashville for Michael Bunting and a 4th round pick. So I like the addition for Pittsburgh adding in Tommy Novak. I was like, what are you doing with Luke Schenn? Makes sense later on. They end up moving him later in the day. So I was like, all right, that tracks. But Michael Bunting, up and down with the Pens. At times he looked like he was fitting in very well. Other times invisible and like on the 4th line and shit, just not really getting it done. So they move on from him, but Nashville acquiring a decent, he's a versatile player, Michael Bunting. He could play up and down. He's played with superstars, played with Matthews, Crosby. Where was he? He was in Carolina, So, but he's been moving around a lot. So there's rather something wrong with his game, or he's just a decent player to trade. I don't know. It's an interesting trade. Pittsburgh trying to get younger, bringing in like semi-young guys that aren't quite hitting their potential yet. But Tommy Novak, man, he's a pretty decent player. I like that addition as well for Pittsburgh. We got New Jersey adding in Brian Dumoulin, defenseman, and Anaheim getting Herman. That is a bold name to go for in this generation. Herman Traff, right winger, and a conditional 2nd round pick in 25, 50% retained on Dumoulin's contract. And a smart ad there from Jersey. Hamilton's down. We know about Jack Hughes. So Jack Hughes out for the remainder of the season, probably a big chunk of the playoffs, which is, New Jersey. Some people are waving the white flag already for New Jersey in the playoffs. They're probably going to make it still, but without Hughes, if they don't have Hamilton, I don't know how much of an impact they're going to make there, but who knows? Markstrom could steal some games. They still have other guys, Heischer, Bratt. They have players, so we'll see what happens, but that's a massive loss, but they're trying to fill some gaps there. I don't know who Herman Traff is. I imagine he is some sort of prospect, but maybe not a big one. All right, Nico Sturm is going to Florida and a 7th round pick in 27. San Jose acquires a 4th round pick in 26, so adding in some center depth there for Florida. Riley Smith going back to Vegas. And New York Rangers acquiring Brendan Brisson, a center, and 3rd round pick in 25. So, hey, good ad. It worked there for him in Vegas with Riley Smith. It hasn't worked for him really anywhere else he's gone, but that's a decent ad right there for Vegas. That's going to do them pretty good. We got a goalie swap between Winnipeg and Florida. Chris Driedger, a part of Winnipeg now, and Florida acquires Kaapo Kähkönen. So there you go. Not really a big deal. New York Rangers acquiring Carson Soucy, defenseman from Vancouver, for a 3rd round pick. He's a little bit expensive, Carson Soucy, but he's a big, meaty defenseman, so they're adding that to the blue line for the Rangers as they're trying to make it back into the playoffs. And they're trying, man. They're sniffing around. They're not far away. They could potentially catch Jersey. Who knows? They have to get very, very hot. Now, here's an interesting one. I don't know why people keep trading Jake Wallman, man. I really like Jake Wallman, and San Jose's getting rid of him. He's on his way to Edmonton, and hey, that could be a fucking nice pickup right there for Edmonton. I really like Jake Wallman. It's been a fantasy asset for me for a while now, and I really like him. But he's been in and out of the lineup a lot lately, so hopefully he can get back in there. But that guy just puts up points, man. He's playing some good minutes for Edmonton so far already, and yeah, I like that ad for Edmonton. San Jose gets Carl Berglund, center, and a conditional 1st round pick in 26. So that's some pretty good work right there from San Jose. They got Wallman for fucking nothing from Detroit. So that is some damn fine work right there from San Jose. All right, the Boston Bruins are at it again. They got Jacob Lauko coming to Boston with Murat oh boy, Shunden. And a 6th round pick in 26. All right. And going to Minnesota is Justin Brazeau. Justin Brazeau, big boy right there. He's 6'6", 227 pounds, right winger. And he has 10 goals this season, man. So maybe punching a little bit above his weight class with all the injuries that have been going down in, Minnesota. But hey, man, that is a big guy that with a little bit of scoring touch right there added to the Minnesota lineup, which is going to make them even more unpleasant to play against in the playoffs. So that's a pretty decent ad right there for Minnesota as Boston is selling. Man, Boston's selling off assets. Very interesting. And it actually happened. New York Islanders traded away Brock Nelson. He is gone, and he is going to Colorado, who had a hell of a day. Colorado got shit done, but hey, New York got a haul and a half right here. So let's go to Colorado's side. Brock Nelson, center on his way, and William Dufour, right winger. So Brock Nelson, that is going to fit. Hopefully, finally find their fit for the Nazem Kadri hole that was left ever since he left in that second line center slot. You would think that Brock Nelson's going to fit that role very, very nicely. I would like to think so, considering they paid a first-round pick in 26 or 27, a conditional third-round pick in 28, and Callum Ritchie, also Oliver Shillington, 50% retained of Nelson's contract. So, damn, son. That's a lot. So, Callum Ritchie is apparently a pretty good prospect right there. So, New York needs those. They add that. They get a potential first-round pick this next year or the one after. They're probably looking for 26, but I imagine it'll be 27. Third round, yeah, man, they get a lot here. They get a lot. This is the kind of thing that I imagine Luge was just like, I can't say no to this one. Good prospect, a good pick. That, who knows, man, like Colorado's kind of a up and downy team. They've gotten lucky this year, and they've able to trade their way back into what looks to be a contending team. But who knows, man, that one of those first round picks could be something for the Islanders. It is it's conditional. I don't know if it's protected or not, but not bad. Not bad right there for New York. So Oliver Shillington goes to Anaheim after that for future considerations. Very unfortunate, man. I was rooting hard for Shillington, former Calgary Flame. He was dealing with personal issues. He was gone for almost 2 years, I think, and he came back. And when he signed with Colorado, I'm like, shit, that could be good for him. And yeah, now he finds himself in Anaheim. So we'll see if he can find a home there, hopefully. Or not, Calgary will take you back. We got Washington acquiring Anthony Beauvillier, Pittsburgh getting a second-round pick in 25. And it's pretty good work right there from Pittsburgh. Anthony Beauvillier, he's all right. He gets traded around a lot. But some more scoring depth there for Washington makes sense. We got Philadelphia acquiring a third-round pick and retaining 50% of Kuzmenko's contract. And Kuzmenko heads over to Los Angeles along with a 7th-round pick in 25. So, Kuzmenko kind of brought into Philadelphia to help translate for Michkov. Now Grabenkin's there, so you just lost your job, Kuzmenko. But fuck, dude, this guy scored damn near 40 goals 2 times now, I think. He's good when he first arrives with a team. So LA could get a sneaky good thing right here. This guy can just decide I'm going to start scoring again. That could be an awesome ad for Los Angeles. So keep your eye on that one. Now we got a hell of a interesting trade right here between Ottawa and Buffalo, divisional rivals, and 2 teams that are really trying to get back to the playoffs. Buffalo, no way, but Ottawa, bro, they're in a spot right now, and I can't believe I'm rooting for them, but I want them to make it. Right now, last I checked, it was Columbus and Ottawa in the wild card. I would love for those 2 teams to make it. What a story that would be. Ottawa acquires Dylan Cousins and not the Calgary Flames. Damn it. Really wanted the Flames to go after Cousins and Bohm Byram from Buffalo. Try and steal those 2 guys away for pennies on the dollar, but Ottawa gets him. So they get Dennis Gilbert, a defenseman, and a second-round pick in 26. Going to Buffalo is Josh Norris and Jacob Bernard Docker. Interesting. So Brady Tkachuk devastated. His best buddy, Josh Norris, is gone. He's not going to be able to be a part of the playoff chase for Ottawa and potentially a playoff run with Ottawa. So there was a lot of emotions for Tkachuk and Norris this week, but Norris made a really nice pass in his game with Buffalo to Thompson, so that was really good. Cousins scored like an OT winner, so it looks good so far. I don't know, like Norris, he's had a lot of injury problems, like his 3 surgeries, they said, on his shoulder already, and he's 25 years old, he's on a pretty big contract, and if it just wasn't for those injury problems, he's got 20 goals this year, like he's a good player, it's just injury problems, man, always with the injuries. And Dylan Cousins, this guy, a former 30-goal scorer, has lost his way with the Buffalo Sabres, and hopefully he can find it with this new chase. You got some really meaningful games you get to be a part of, and yeah, man, I could see this being a good trade for both, but I definitely see it being better for Ottawa in the long run. Bernard Docker, former first-round pick, he hasn't really lived up to it, but yeah, there he goes. I like that trade, man. It's just a changing of assets right there. Hopefully Norris can stay healthy, and hopefully his love for hockey does not go away. And now we got the big one. Probably the biggest trade of the day. You got Dallas acquiring Mikko Rantanen. Oh, buddy, from Carolina for Logan Stinky Stankoven, center, a conditional first-round pick in 26, conditional first-round pick in 28, a third-round pick in 26, and a third-round pick in 27, because Dallas can fucking do whatever they want, baby. Dallas had a day. They had a day. So not only did they acquire Mikko Rantanen, they got Wyatt Johnson signed to a sweetheart 5-year extension worth like $8.4 million. Are you fucking kidding me? God, that guy's a stud. He's going to be a 30-goal scorer. Could be 40. Who knows how far Wyatt Johnson goes. He gets better every single year. And now they added Mikko Rantanen. And what I love the most about this trade is that Dallas is like undercover Team Finland. You got Heiskanen. You got Heinz. You got Rantanen. Like, oh, fuck yeah. And there's probably so many other, Lundell is also Finnish, so there's a Finnish connection right there. I love that about the Dallas Stars right now, so that's awesome. And hey, yes, they give up Stankoven, which that sucks. Like, he's a great young player, but dude, you're getting Rantanen and the masterclass that is the Dallas Stars as an organization, draft-wise, contract-wise, just home runs all the freaking time. So good at drafting, so good at developing, and here they go. Like, this is the kind of trade they are able to do, and it really doesn't do a whole lot of damage to their team at all. They can give up those first-round picks. They are in win-now mode, and this could be the trade that gets the Dallas Stars a Stanley Cup. And they also get Rantanen signed to his extension, which is $12 million. Are you fucking kidding me, man? Ugh, so frustrating. So what, all said and done, I feel like Colorado didn't need to trade Rantanen at all. I am grateful that they did, because it's made for a very, very interesting situation, but he signed for 12, which, is that not like in and around what Colorado offered him? But I don't know, man. So I don't think they really had to trade Rantanen, and now he's playing for Dallas, and Dallas and Colorado could potentially meet in the first round, and that is going to be fucking crazy. Dallas is so well built and just so deep, and they got a fucking superstar in like every single position, but they don't have Nathan McKinnon and they don't have Makar, right? So it is going, if that is the first round, that's going to be an all-timer, I would like to hope. So I love these additions right here. Rantanen, and then Stankoven, he's 22 years old, he's got a lot of potential, and I think he's going to fit in pretty nicely with Carolina. I think he's already got some points already, scored a big goal, so looking good early for both sides. Rantanen's already got a couple, he's already looking really good, and I think he's just with that Finnish connection, man, I think he's going to fit in so nicely. And I know Aho was there in Carolina, but I don't know, it's just something different about Dallas, man. I don't know why people don't want to stay in Carolina. Is it the system that's just like not fun to play, like the man-on-man thing? It's a tough system to get into, and I don't know a damn thing about Carolina, but it seems I don't have a problem with Carolina. I don't know, but interesting, very interesting trade. So Carolina, they got tons of first-round picks. They could easily trade some of those picks and try and get themselves a superstar somehow. It is unfortunate that they aren't able to hold on to Rantanen, but they had a lot of balls, man. They went for it. They acquired Rantanen. They've been trying to acquire all the superstars, man. Anyone that's out there, they were in on Pettersson, tried to bring him in, JT Miller, and of course now they got Rantanen, and off he goes because they just know, they're just like, you know what, it's not going to be a fit. Doesn't seem like he's committing to Carolina, so let's just, take our losses and let's see what we can recoup. And they recouped a pretty good amount, man. So, they lose Natchez, they lose Drury, they lose some picks. They bring in more picks, and now they have Logan Stankoven. Is Logan Stankoven in a couple first rounds worth Natchez and Drury? All said and done, I don't think they did all that bad. They may, in the end, come out ahead with all this trade. It might be Colorado that ends up like, maybe we shouldn't have done this. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. Like, Natchez looks amazing so far for them. He's fit right in with McKinnon, and yeah, man, so, and it just seems like a really good all around, like, everything just kind of worked out for everybody, which is nice to see every now and again. All right, let's move on to more trades as the freaking thing reloads again. Oh my goodness, so freaking frustrating. But let me know who you think has won the trade deadline. Overall, I think Dallas did some damn fine work. I think Pittsburgh actually did not too bad. Toronto, I think, did good. Florida did pretty all right. We'll talk about them. All right, where's the next trade? We got, that's one. We talked about that one. All right, there's the Luke Schenn trade. All right, that's where we're at. Luke Schenn going to Winnipeg. Pittsburgh, welcome to Pittsburgh, and see you the fuck later. You're going to Winnipeg. He's like, damn it. But a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick coming to Pittsburgh for Luke Schenn. That's not bad at all, man. Pittsburgh's in a retool, rebuild, whatever the fuck they want to call it. You could call it whatever you want. You're rebuilding this team, man. So they're getting picks, and for Luke, that's some good work, man. So that's why I'm like, yo, Dubas, the guy can make trades, man. Like, he may not be able to sign a contract for shit, but he can make trades. So Winnipeg adds some size and veteran leadership in Luke Schenn. And yeah, he's going to be a pain in the ass to play against in the playoffs, whoever gets him. Winnipeg also acquires Brandon Tanev, another guy that's going to be a pain in the ass to play against in a 7-game series. He, I believe, is the shot blocks leader for forward still in the NHL with his brother on defense, Chris Tanev, which I know everyone wanted Brandon Tanev and Chris Tanev to play together on the Leafs. It could still happen. He can sign with the Leafs at a more reasonable price in the offseason. He's a little expensive right now for what he is. A lot of energy. He hits, he blocks, he does all that. Not a lot of offense there, but again, a guy that's going to be a pain in the ass to play against, and Seattle acquires a second-round pick for him, which is not bad. It's more than likely going to be like a third round, but not bad. Not a bad haul right there for Seattle. And then Colorado added again. They also did fantastic. They bring in Charlie Coyle as well. They're like, you know what? Let's just bring in another center. Fuck it. And I love this move for them. Casey Middlestad on his way out. William Zellers, left winger, and a second-round pick going to Boston. And I like the move for Boston. They get younger with Casey Middlestad. Is he... I think he's pretty good. It's odd. Like, I thought it would really work in Colorado. I thought that was gonna be the guy, and it didn't work out. It looked good at first, and then it wasn't the guy. He wasn't the guy. So they move off him. Boston gets a younger center prospect. Great. They need that. And Colorado gets a veteran center. They need that. So I love that trade for Colorado. I think Charlie Coyle's gonna do great things for them in the playoffs. Love that trade. Columbus acquiring Luke Kunin, center from San Jose for a fourth-round pick. So, Columbus trying to get into the playoffs. They're doing what they can. It's a small move. It's not the biggest ad, but Luke Kunin, pretty big, could help them if they get into the playoffs. He could be a helper right there. You get Peter Mrazek coming back to Detroit. What the fuck is that? And Craig Smith. Going to Chicago is Joe Veleno. So... that at one time I saw Joe Veleno used to get very good in some of the NHL video games, highly touted prospect at one point, and just really hasn't found his way. So off to Chicago you go. Maybe you'll find a home there. But Peter Mrazek back to Detroit. Very interesting. Mrazek's he's played well on a bad team. Detroit can use some goaltending help. They got rid of Husso. I think Talbot's been hurt and Lyon hasn't been it, so they're thinking Peter Mrazek might be the best option out there, so they brought him in. Interesting. All right, New Jersey, what do you got? You got Cody Glass and Jonathan Gruden coming to New Jersey, and going to Pittsburgh, you got Chase Stillman, Max Graham, and a third-round pick. Some center depth there. I don't think Cody Glass is going to cover for Jack Hughes, but he might help a little bit. Now we got the most shocking trade of the day. The Florida Panthers acquire Brad Marchand, and Boston acquires a measly conditional second-round pick in 2027, and they're retaining 50% of Marchand's contract. Get fired. Get fired, everybody in Boston. How do you let that happen? Unfucking believable. So, a lot of hoopla going around with this Brad Marchand and Boston Bruins situation. Apparently, Brad calling for a face-to-face meeting. They have this face-to-face meeting, and Brad said that he is willing and able to, budge on his contract and make it work. And Boston said, nah, we'll send you to our worst rival right now for fucking peanuts. I would have shut this trade down if I was Gary Bettman. Like, no fucking way. Is that all you're retaining? Oh, that is fucking larceny. That is a robbery by the Florida Panthers. Now, I know Brad is hurt. Emotionally and physically by this. So he's already hurt. He hasn't played with the Panthers just yet. But fuck me, man. That is just not fair. Brad Marchand, Sam, the Menace Bennett, and fucking Matthew Tkachuk in a playoff series. Good luck to you. Good fucking luck to you. Now, if they all get there healthy, who knows? But if it does, that is just not fair. That is not fair, and Boston getting absolutely nothing for it. A conditional second-round pick, like garbage. And doesn't sound like Brad would be coming back, man. Like, I thought, okay, well, they could trade him, and he'll just come back and re-sign with them in the offseason. Like, all right. But it doesn't seem like they're ending on very good terms here with Brad, so very interesting. And Brad seems to be rather excited to be wearing red and to be a part of what's probably going to be another playoff run right here. So, damn, dude, I am extremely jealous. I would have loved to have Brad Marchand on my team, or at least not the Florida team, the team that they're more than likely going to play the Leafs. It would have been great if he went to Colorado, Vegas. Literally anyone in the West would have been fine with me, but no. You had to fucking trade him to stupid freaking Florida, and now I gotta see Brad's stupid face in the playoffs again. All right. We got Colorado reacquiring Eric Johnson for Giovanni Smith. I like that move. Eric was a part of their playoff run to the Cup, and cool to have him back. I think it was who the fuck were they interviewing? Oh, it was Landeskog on Spit and Chicklets, and Landy was just like to Eric. He's just like, how the hell do you keep getting back here? Just get out of here. And he just keeps coming back. So that's cool for them. And this is an interesting trade right here. Ottawa acquires Fabian Zetterlund and Tristan Robbins with a 4th-round pick. Going to San Jose is Noah Gregor, Zach Ostrobchuk, and a 2nd-round pick. Yo, what the fuck? I did not know Fabian Zetterlund was on the market right here. 17 goals, 19 assists in 66 games played. He's only 25 years old. He's fucking, what the hell? 5'11", 220 pounds. Damn, son. Not bad. Not bad at all. What's his career looking like here? Is this guy... Oh, that's not as awesome as I was hoping, but... His best season in 23-24, 82 games, 24 goals, and 44 points. So potential 20-ish goal scorer added here for the Ottawa Senators. A young guy with some size to him as well. Not bad. And I don't like Noah Gregor. I don't know. Like, I don't think they paid all that much right here. Eric Brandstrom heading to Buffalo, and the New York Rangers acquiring Nicholas Aube-Kubel. Some forward depth there for the Rangers, a guy that could help them in a playoff run if they get there. And then Eric Brandstrom, another young defenseman added on the left side. What the fuck are you guys doing over there in Buffalo? New Jersey, they acquire Daniel Sprong, and Seattle acquires a 7th-round pick. I like Daniel Sprong. He could be a useful bottom 6 player if you utilize him properly. He scores goals. He's just got 0 defensive ability. Dennis Cholowski also going to New Jersey. Fucking don't care about that trade. Don't care about that one. That one's not a big deal. Henry Yoki-Haru going to Boston. Buffalo acquires a 4th-round pick. Okay. We talked about... Yeah, that's it. All right. Wow, holy shit. We got through them all. That was all the trades. So, yeah, dude. Colorado did great. Dallas, Toronto... Boston did fucking atrociously. Not really, though. I think they just did atrociously on the Brad deal. Otherwise, I think bringing in Casey Middlestat, trading out Coyle, really good move. Who else did some really good shit out there? I think Ottawa doing pretty good there. They get Cousins. They get Zetterlund. So they're bringing in some more young guys, which... I don't know, they're pretty young already. Like, maybe you would have liked to bring in, like, a veteran depth role, something like that. But we'll see, man. Very excited to see Ottawa running down the stretch here, see if they can make it into the playoffs. I really hope they do. All right, let's talk about some of the signings. I went through pretty much all the big ones here, but if it would load. Utah went crazy. They're signing a bunch of people for 1 year. Kerfoot, 1 year, $3 million. Ian Cole, 1 year, $3 million. Sure. Jordan Greenway gets an $8 million 2-year cost. So he's $4 million per year for Jordan Greenway. He's really big. And he's really big. We talked about Olivier last week. Really like that deal. Utah also signing Karl Vejmelka. And you better believe it's around that $5 million, 5x5. It's very, very, very dangerous deal. All right, 5 years, 4.75 for Karl Vejmelka. He's an inconsistent goalie. He's playing good this year, but he had not good years prior, so I would not be shocked if Karl Vejmelka turns into a pumpkin next year, so watch yourself. What the fuck? Who's this guy? Entry-level deal, okay, Pitlick, Connor, some sort of Murphy, we're not worried about. Jason Zucker signs a 2-year extension with Buffalo. Buffalo found someone that wants to play and stay with them, so they signed the shit out of him. 2 years, 4.75, and he's been good for them. I was shocked they didn't trade him, or he didn't get traded. They do need people. They would like to have some veterans and people that want to play with the Buffalo Sabres. So, all right, cool. Kovacevic gets a 5-year, $4 million contract. I don't know who you are. Let's take a look. 66 games played, 1 goal, 15 assists, and he's a defenseman. Okay. 6'5", 27 years old, right shot defenseman. Okay, I'm starting to see why he got the money, but I don't know who this play. I don't know really anything about that guy. So interesting, good for you. 20 million. That's some money right there. Talked about Wyatt Johnson's deal, $42 million contract, 5 years, $8.4 million is an absolute steal. I don't know what other fucking side deals he's got going on there in Dallas. Like, he's worth a lot more than that. It is a 5-year deal, so when he's done that 5-year deal, he's going to make a lot of money, but he could have easily taken a lot more money than that. So another great deal for the fucking Dallas Stars, and I'm not freaking jealous at all. Ukko Vakanainen signs a 2-year extension with the Rangers, $1.55 million. Talked about Rantanen's $12 million extension. Also, just fucking baloney. Dallas, geez, the guy wanted like $14 million. He can easily get 14, 15, 16 million. If Chicago wants him, they could probably push it to 16, and you sign for 12, and you're staying with Dallas, and they're probably going to be good for all of those 8 years, man. They're built so well. And Jonathan Quick earns himself another year extension, $1.55 million for the Quickster, Quick, if you will. He's got 9 wins, 6 losses, and I think I don't know if he's hit that top wins and for American goaltender, but he's got to be close. And fuck yeah, Jonathan Quick still getting it done. Let us now discuss. Aaron Ekblad fucked up, everybody. Aaron Ekblad fucked up real bad, and he fucked up so bad he got himself a 20-game suspension. Now, it's not that big of a deal for Florida. They're already going to be in the playoffs. They're good to go. Aaron Ekblad's going to get a nice break. He's going to lose some money, though. But, yeah, man, that's unfortunate. So he broke the player, the substance program. He took something he wasn't supposed to, a drug-enhancing an enhancement drug, if you will. I don't know what it was. I don't know. And he probably won't tell us, but he's just like, whoopsie daisy. Now, he probably should have done this a couple of games earlier, because now he is going to miss the first 2 games of the playoffs. That's not good. I don't think Florida wanted that to happen. A little miscommunication or miscalculations right there. Maybe they're like, oh, it's an 18 games. Oh, nope, it's 20. Oh, fuck. But if he does do this again, it goes to a 60-game suspension, and then if he does it a third time, you're out of the league. You got Dunyan rings. So be careful, Aaron, and pay attention to what you put in your body, folks. So watch yourselves, and that's going to cost you a lot of money. It's probably going to cost the Panthers a couple of wins, and we'll see if it really, like, I don't even think they had Ekblad. They rarely had. Ekblad's hurt a lot anyway, so they've played without Ekblad a lot. They've done this before, so really nothing new for them, but very unfortunate. I was like, what the fuck did you do, man? 20 games? That's insane. All right, speaking of insane, we got some freaking milestones to talk about here. Colorado's Nathan MacKinnon, come on down. He hit 1,000 points, and I'm shocked he's only at 1,000. I thought he was at way more than that, but congratulations to Nathan MacKinnon, man. Like, I could see him hitting 2,000 points. Like, the way that superstars kind of play, they can play like into their late 30s, even 40s, and still putting up like in and around a point a game. And I could see MacKinnon being in that echelon. If not for a slowish start to his career, he probably would have hit 1,000 points a lot earlier. But yeah, dude, that's awesome. 1,000 points. And let's finish off the show with Alexander Ovechkin. Ovi Watch. It's Ovi Watch time. I think he's like 8 goals away now. Regardless, he hit 1,600 points this week. Absolutely ridiculous, man. Like, just fantastic. 1,600 points. Not a lot of players have reached that mark. And yeah, so that is awesome for Ovechkin, one of the greatest of all time. And the Washington Capitals still rolling, man, doing really well. Scoring a lot. Did they add? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Washington, really good team. I'm still nervous for them with the playoffs. Like, these kind of teams, I don't know if they're going to gel all that well in the playoffs. We'll see. I mean, they do have Tom Wilson. I believe he just got injured as well. There's always going to be injuries, but regardless, are we going to see Ovechkin break this record this season? Like, oh, we are getting very, very close. Like, there's still enough games that he could very easily well, I wouldn't say easily. It's not easy. But he could do it this year, man. But I could also see him being like 1 goal away, and we start the season next year with him 1 goal away, and then boom, he gets it like the first day of the NHL or something, gets it against Pittsburgh, and that'd be so sick. And to have it in Washington would be perfect. That's there's been some talks like, oh, would they shut down Ovechkin for a game if he was 1 away and they were on the road? Would they not let him play? It's like that's insane. Absolutely not. He would play. It doesn't really, like, that's just a nice touch. If they can have it at home, great. If not, oh well. A lot of them haven't happened at home. Like, I think most of the Gretzky things happened on the road. So, yeah. And I guess I'll touch on Gretzky just for a second here, because I know he's been in a little bit of hot water for wearing a hat that he probably shouldn't have been wearing. And, yeah, so everyone's a little bit mad at Wayne for doing that. But he's gonna be hopefully he doesn't scare him into his house and he won't come out anymore because he's too scared people are gonna yell at him or be mean to Wayne. It's just a hat, like, for goodness sakes. But I know what it means. It doesn't. Don't worry about it. I want Wayne and Ovi to be there together, celebrate the passing of the torch, and all that great stuff. They better not boo. Just don't boo them, for goodness sakes. Just be nice. I know things are fucking weird right now and it's ridiculous, but Don't take it out on Wayno. Don't take it out on Wayno. He doesn't need that shit right now. All right, I think that is everything. I talked about Jack Hughes being out for the season. That really sucks for New Jersey and really, really sucks for their chances just in the playoffs in general. Like, I wouldn't be, like, waving the white flag. I think that's a little bit rude to the rest of the team. Like, they have a lot of really good players still without Jack Hughes. And who's to say that Jack Hughes is going to be all that effective in the playoffs, man? He's small. He could get shut down in the playoffs. So who knows? Who knows? It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen with New Jersey and, of course, the rest of the race leading into the playoffs, man. You got a lot of teams that are still sniffing around, especially in the East. I really want Boston to stop it. Stop winning games, knock it off. I don't want, actually, you know what? In a perfect world, I want Boston to miss the playoffs by 1 point and they get a mediocre draft pick. And yeah, that's what I want for Boston. So win enough games that you miss it by 1 point and fuck off and let Ottawa and Columbus take the spots and you guys can go away. Just go away for a long time. And how dare you to Brad Marchand? I imagine everyone in Boston's very upset. There is a Boston fan at work that I talked to about it, and he was disappointed, more satisfied with my frustrations of the trade as a Leaf fan, because I'm just like, fuck, man, every freaking time this Brad Marchand guy he's our fucking boogeyman, and if I have to see him in a Florida Panthers jersey in the playoffs, I'm gonna be very, very, very not happy about it. So there we go, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. You the best. You want to be even more of the best, make sure you're reviewing the podcast, share it around with a few thousand of your friends and enemies, all that great stuff. In terms of what else got going on with the pod this week, well, I did the AEW Revolution review. If you have not seen or heard about what went down at Revolution, you should probably check out that review, because it was a damn good freaking pay-per-view right there. One of the best ones I think I've seen this year. So check it out and listen to that, please, and thank you. In terms of what we got going on with the GamerCast this week, going to be talking about remakes I would love to have in my life that we don't have yet. So I'm going to be talking about games I would like remade, talk about how I want them remade. We're talking Final Fantasy VII level remakes, not remasters where it's just just HD. No, I want some shit to go down. So we'll be discussing that, and throw them at me. What games do you want remade, and all that great stuff. And the WrestleCast will be going on this week as well. I don't think there's any pay-per-views. There probably shouldn't be. We don't have any more in the WWE until WrestleMania. We just had AEW, so should be in the clear, but I'll have the wrestling recap there for you to recap all the crazy action that goes on in the WWE and AEW every single week. There we go, everybody. Thank you so much again for listening. You the best, and we'll be back again with... Wait a second, I'm not done yet. I'm not fucking done yet. I upload all these episodes to the YouTube channel, GamerGX Videos. Go over there and subscribe to the YouTube channel, please, and thank you. Drop a comment on one of the videos. You want a question answered live on the podcast, leave a question. Anything about wrestling, video games, or hockey would be preferred. And there is a Twitter page that I don't really use, and an email address. So if you want to use those, the links are in the description. Now I will leave. I will be leaving now. I promise. All right. We'll be back again with some GX Boy.